Hey, what's up again, everyone? Hope your Saturday morning so far has been good. I wanted to still touch on the college football playoff, obviously with the rankings set to come out here in the next, I believe, 45 minutes. Kind of went off a little bit this morning on my thoughts on Ohio State. Again, and nothing against the program or anything like that. It's just, there's a lot of frustration that comes along with it, but it's just, it felt kind of good to vent out those frustrations. But overall, when it comes down to the college football playoff rankings, I think you're going to see Clemson 1, Oklahoma 2. I think it'll be Georgia 3, and then I do think Ohio State will get in. And I think that, like I said, like I was mentioning earlier, I think that you have to have a conference championship to be placed into the college football playoff. Even though Ohio State had that ugly loss, their loss against Oklahoma, that's a so-called quality loss, which I think in this case fits. But the loss to Iowa is an ugly loss. But again, Ohio State to me is the champion of the best conference in college football, that being the Big Ten. So I believe that they do deserve a spot in the playoff, simply because of that. The conference championship thing is, I think it's something that has to be taken serious. There's no point, to have conference championships if, like I said, if the teams they're not gonna be rewarded for it. All this still being said, I believe that there needs to be at least the 6-team playoff, if not 8. Again, it's just when you look at the entire landscape of everything, there has to be a conference championship, from the Power 5. Those champions need to be in the playoffs. So there's 5 right there. You can make a case for Auburn and Alabama. That's fine. And I will say UCF this year deserves to be in. So, you've got those teams right there. There's your 8. And you can really make it. I mean, the money's there. So if NCAA, you're all about the money, go for it. That would be great. And then, hell, you could even say even over Auburn, you can have Wisconsin in there. I'm fine with that. It's just, I think the committee, they're going to take a look at everything. And I think they will have Ohio State in, even with their loss at Iowa. And even though they weren't fantastic yesterday in their game against Wisconsin, I still think that they're going to be rewarded for the conference championship. Again, like I said, the loss with Oklahoma, that's obviously not going to hurt them one bit. The only loss that could hurt them is indeed the Iowa loss. And Alabama, again, getting in would be, I would understand them putting them in, but I don't think it would be right in this case, just simply because they were watching the conference championships from their couches. And that is one thing that I think you have to, again, you got to win your conference championship. And I said that last year. I was, against Ohio State making it last year over Penn State, simply because, Penn State beat them head-to-head and then goes on and wins the Big Ten, but does not make the playoff, which I thought I didn't think was fair. Was Ohio State one of the 4 best teams? They sure were, but they didn't have that conference championship, which, like I said, I think you got to put a lot of onus on that. And so with that being the case, like I said, and my earlier rant was not to bash Ohio State and say that they don't deserve to be in, because I think that they do. I just think that it would not surprise me if Alabama does make it, simply because, one, they're Alabama, and there's this infatuation with the SEC and Alabama that causes, people to do, crazy things when it comes to ranking teams. There's always been this, the SEC has always been put on the pedestal, and I disagree with it, because I think that it's a very top-heavy league, and there's other teams, in other conferences that are much, much better than what the so-called top teams in the SEC are. And I think you're starting to see that. I believe you're going to see that this year with Ohio State making it a 2-loss Ohio State team who wins the Big Ten. If they are placed in the playoff above Alabama, that's going to show the true shift, I think, in the conference supremacy, unless obviously Georgia goes out and wins the national championship. But, with that being the case, though, I think you're going to see that shift of Ohio State making it in. Ohio State, like I said, they're a damn good team. Always have been, always will be, especially with Urban Meyer at the helm. So my earlier rant, like I said, was not to bash, Ohio State or anything like that. It was just simply to. It was a little bit of frustration getting out on the fan base part, the stuff that I was seeing last night. One thing you're always going to get from me is I'm going to shoot it straight. I'm going to tell it like it is, and that's how I've been and always will be. And I'm not going to. I've never been an Ohio State fan, and again, like I said, I never will be. But one damn thing is certain: I'm going to be objective when it comes to it. And I like I said, I'm going to give them credit where it's due. So with that being the case. Like I said, Ohio State, I believe, truly deserves to be in the playoff based off of their conference championship victory over Wisconsin. And like I said, they definitely deserve it. So that's where I kind of want to get some clarification out there. The one thing that did kind of drive me nuts from a lot of Ohio State fans, like I did touch on earlier, was the fact that them ripping on Nick Saban for politicking on ESPN. That right there, he's doing, like I said, what every coach in America would do to get his team in a better position. I mean, to me, if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job as a coach. I think you need to put your team in the best position to succeed. And Nick Saban doing that by politicking on ESPN, good for him. I don't blame him one bit. I would do the same thing if I was head coach. So, for those Ohio State fans to rip on Saban for doing that, that's where a lot of my anger and frustration was coming from, because there was the elitist mentality that they had last night that I saw on Twitter from almost everyone, and then I'm getting messages for it, and it just was kind of that's where a lot of my frustration was lying. So, but again, like I said, you're going to get a straight shooter. I'm going to say it like it is. So with that, like I said, with that being the case, we're going to see how the playoff committee spits out the rankings today, and who we're going to see in the college football playoff. It's going to be great. As always, it's college football, and college football is one of the best sports in the country. It always has a lot of fun and excitement, and we're going to get that again this year. Because I think, like I said, right now with Oklahoma and Clemson, I think you're going to see one heck of a playoff, and then obviously Ohio State trying to avenge their absolute drubbing that they received last year at the hands of Clemson. Here's their chance to get right back in it and get some retribution. So it's like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. As always, always check me out for my videos. I try to put out some good content. So as always, I get a lot of good feedback. So I thank you guys for your support. As always, check me out on Twitter at I am Chris Asbrock. I'm also on Instagram that as well. FieldImpactSports.com is our site. Like I said, with my work schedule, it's been tough to get a lot of content out there. With Bengals Monday night tomorrow night, I'll be putting out another post-game video. So as always, check that out on the YouTube page as well. So as always, guys, thank you so much for your support, and love to keep the the banter back and forth, and obviously the good sports chatter content going back and forth as well. It's always great as long as it's constructive and good. That's what it's all about. None of the bashing and everything like that. It's kind of pointless. So thank you guys, and have yourselves a great rest of your weekend, and have a good one. See ya.